Yeah, and a lot of what you guys worked on together, as we mentioned, the game is in a good place these days. Strong league, and that's wonderful. Now, to turn the page on that, you wanted to promote all the great things that's happening this season. That's your job as a commissioner. My job as the radio host is to serve our fans who had questions for you today. The number one question that was people wanted to ask you was Canadians being upset about state tax still.
No,
Yes, they were.
Don't go there.
Hold on, I have to, Gary. I have to ask that.
Are you nuts?
No. Let's go there. Okay. The fact is, if you're playing in Canada, you're getting paid in U.S. dollars.
Yep.
Okay, and that probably more than makes up for any local taxes. Secondly, it didn't stop Connor McDavid for signing for less money to stay in Edmonton, based on what's been reported. I saw Brad Marchand's comments about it making a difference. At the end of the day, he didn't re-sign in Florida because of state taxes. He would, if he didn't have a great experience, if he didn't really love his teammates, if he didn't think they could win again, if he didn't like the way the club was being run, I don't care what the state taxes are, he would have gone somewhere else. I think in his case, that may have been the icing on the cake, but that's not why he stayed in Florida.
All right.
Our Sammy wants to know if you could.
And if I see him tomorrow night when I'm there for the banner raising, I will tell him that.
No, Sammy wants you to suspend him for talking about state tax.
You know what? They've built something really strong in Florida and in Tampa and some other places. I think it does a disservice to Vinny Viola family, Bill Zito, and everything that organization has done to think that they were this successful because of state taxes, because nobody's focused on the 20 prior years when the state taxes didn't exist, when the team, if I said they were mediocre, I'd be exaggerating. So at the end of the day, yes, it can be a factor, I suppose, if everything else is equal, but everything else is never equal.
Okay, let's move on. Momentum off Four Nations and bidding on host cities. Like, how close are we to making a decision on games in Europe?
The World Cup.
Yeah, World Cup.
We have a process that's ongoing. There's a lot of interest. There's a lot of interest from cities, both in North America and in Europe. There's a lot of interest from people that distribute content, whether it's linear or streaming. And so once we get everything pieced together, we know where we're going to be. I think we're going to have an amazing event. Four Nations was always intended to be the precursor of what our best on best could be and would be. And I think it sets up the World Cup well. And the reason it works so well is because our players love playing for their countries. I mean, unlike, we were getting compared last February to All-Star games and other sports. The fact is, our players wanted it. They wanted to play in it. They gave it themselves. It was an authentic event, and that's what made it so great. And I think whether it's the Olympics this season or 2 years later, the World Cup, this is something that's important to our players. And even though it has some negative aspects in our season, the disruption and what have you, on balance, we concluded it was worth it because it's so important to our players.
Commissioner, a lot of your players, Russians, have stated that they want to play in it. Where are we with Russia's participation?
You know what? The IOC, International Olympic Committee, and the International Ice Hockey Federation have, to this point, been barring Russia from international competition, and that's where we take our cues. Listen, there are people who think we should have banned Russian players from playing at the NHL level for their NHL teams. That's obviously not something we would do. And there are things that go on in the world that are beyond our control, and we just have to react to them. I think at some point, the Russian players are an important part of our game, and at some point, having them back in international competition. But we're not the ones who've been making that call.
Like, if I'm clear, Commissioner, the World Cup is an NHLPA sanction. You don't need them to bless it.
We respect what the IOC is doing and the IIHF. The IIHF doesn't control us. We we live in their world, and we're trying to be good citizens in the international sporting world, and in particular the international hockey world.
All right. You got anything else?
We gotta
Okay,
go.
one
Time
more.
is-
Hey, one more. What was it? Where did I see you on Bloomberg in New York, where you stood on a stage and you basically told, a world leader down in south of the border about Canada never going to become a 51st state? Like that was.
That
was really cool.
I didn't say it exactly like that, so don't get me in trouble with either government. What I said is, I've spent many, 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 many days, nights, weeks in Canada over the last 32, 33 years. It's not culturally, historically, it's not a 51st state. It is a distinct country with its own history, its own culture, pride in what Canada is. And, there may be economic reasons that people think that that's a good idea, but in terms of Canada's sovereignty, that's something I know Canadians are proud of, and I don't see them wanting to change that anytime.
Yeah, baby.
Canada.
And listen, having spent as much time in Canada as I have, particularly its role with respect to hockey, I get it, I understand it, and most importantly, I respect it.
Much appreciated.
Really
Mr.
appreciate
Bettman.
you coming on today, Commissioner. All the best to you in your office on a great season.
Thank you, guys. Great to be with you. Thanks for all you do to bring our game to our fans. You're an important touch point.
Oh, wow.
Appreciate that. Thank you very
You
much.
said that, I'm looking over my shoulder.
Someone else here?
No, you should always look over your shoulder. You never know.
It's great life advice.
That's the Commissioner of the National Hockey League. He's like an enforcer, eh? When he said that, we're not turning Canada into 51st state.
That was really great.
All right.
Flip
Once
it.
again, a reminder: this hour, Real Kipper, brought to you by Bet365. Sammy, how do we do today, buddy?
Better than me. Better than me, boys.
Man, low bar.
Holy.
What do we got on the eve of the National Hockey League starting tomorrow? Baseball.
Two great baseball games. Phillies, Dodgers, Cubs, Brewers.
All right. Thanks once again to the Commissioner of the National Hockey League, Gary Bettman. God, we got a lot in there, didn't we? That was great. Enjoy your last night off because it gets real busy from here on in. Thanks for joining us, everybody.